R.C. Keever, chair of the North Carolina Democratic Party, and State Senator Don Davis. And I've saved the best for last, someone who I've gotten to know over the years, someone who I really look forward to working with. First thing that Congressman Butterfield said to me is, I had to talk to you about our farmers. Very first thing he said. Proceeded to tell me that he was out on a 200-acre sweet potato farm earlier today. We talked about the damage that Hurricane Matthew has done, the lives lost, the homes lost, and also the agricultural damage with all the flooding. And my heart goes out to everyone who has been affected. We gotta be really focused on what we're going to do with this extreme weather. We're getting more of it in more places. And I'm going to make that a priority for my presidency to make sure communities are well prepared, they're resilient, but that we also work to try to limit the damage by taking on the challenge of climate change and changing weather patterns. And nobody knows more about weather than our farmers. And I am very committed to supporting farms of all sizes, but particularly small farms. You know, I think you said the farm you went to this morning, GK, was 200 acres. You know, that's a lot of land. But that's not a gigantic, multi-thousand acre farm.
If you come over here, you drink,
and sometimes
I beat you up.
We spend too much time and money looking after the big giant farms and not enough taking care of the smaller farms, the family-owned farms, farms that have been in people's families for generations.
Okay, I'm leaving tomorrow.
And I will do my very best working with GK
I'm
and
leaving
others
tomorrow.
in Congress
I'm going back to
to
Miami.
focus federal attention
Because
and
you
resources
don't
on the places
understand,
that
you
need
don't
it.
understand.
And North Carolina is a place that needs it. There's still too many people
back to Miami tomorrow.
feel like they have been left out and left behind.
You leave today.
So we've got to spend
You don't
time
tell
thinking about
nobody
how
you
we
leave.
bring everybody along.
I love people
That is
everywhere
my goal
you
as your
leave.
president.
You go
I want to
there.
knock down the barriers that stand in the way of people and places getting ahead. Now, I also, on a personal note, I gotta say, I was in Arizona last night and had a great rally there. I don't know, 15, 16,000 people. It was just extraordinary. But I was a little anxious during my speech because the Cubs were playing in the World Series. And, you know, I've been a fan all my life. Started watching baseball with my dad, went to Wrigley Field, and, you know, it's been a long time, 108 years, to win a championship and make history. And I only wish that my late father and the great Ernie Banks, Mr. Cub, could have seen it happen. So last night was very special on lots of fronts. And who knows, maybe we'll see even more history made in a few days. You know, the last time the Cubs won, women couldn't vote. And I think women are making up for that in this election. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Are you ready to vote? How many folks have already voted? Well, that's really impressive. Are you ready to volunteer these last few days? Are you ready to elect Gray Cooper your governor? Have a governor who puts families first and your needs. I know he'll do a terrific job. Are you ready to elect Deborah Ross to the United States Senate? She will be the independent voice that North Carolina families deserve, and unlike her opponent, she's never been afraid to stand up to Donald Trump. And then, are you ready to elect our next president and commander-in-chief? Well, 4.5 hours standing next to Donald Trump, proving conclusively I have the stamina to be the next president and commander-in-chief. But, you know, he kept saying things like, well, you know, what have you done for 30 years? Well, we know what he's done for 30 years, starting with discriminating against African Americans and denying them housing back in the 1970s. I chose a different path. I have spent my career fighting for kids and families, and I helped to create the Children's Health Insurance Program as First Lady. That now provides health care to 8 million children a year. And I have to tell you, I know it doesn't make headlines, it's not going to, you know, get a big Twitter war going, but when I travel around and shake hands like I'll do after my remarks, and somebody says to me, the Children's Health Insurance Program saved my son's life. I met a woman here in North Carolina whose daughter was born deaf. And the doctor said, you know, she's never, ever going to be able to talk. She's not ever going to be able to hear. And her mother, who is determined, began doing investigation. She found out that there were some possible treatments, but they were expensive. She didn't know what she was going to do, and took her daughter to the doctor, and the doctor said, you know, I just heard about this new program, the Children's Health Insurance Program. Maybe you can qualify for that. Because it's really for families that aren't poor, but don't have much money, and that's the families, isn't it? And families that don't have an employer who provides health insurance. Self-employed, independent contractors. So the mom found out about this thing called the Children's Health Insurance Program, and lo and behold, they did qualify, and they started the treatments for their daughter. I met that young woman. She said hello to me, she talked to me, she just graduated from college, right here in North Carolina. So don't let anybody tell you it doesn't matter what you stand for, what you fight for, and who you're trying to help when you make your decision about who to vote for in this election. As a senator from New York, I worked to rebuild New York City after the 9/11 attacks and to provide health care for our brave first responders who ran toward danger, not away from it. And many of them. Were you there? God bless you. That's another thing. I meet people all over who were there and who worked there. And I meet people who got sick because they worked there. And as your Secretary of State, I traveled to 112 countries, negotiated ceasefires, reduced the threat of nuclear weapons, stood up for human rights and women's rights and LGBT rights around the world. And everything I've done, it's because I've been listening to people. Again, I know that's not very exciting. I plead to that. When you spend time listening, not talking,